Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Hwang Jae live from Seoul. Our top story this morning, North Korea has once again stressed that it's not interested in any kind of dialogue if it's aimed at getting the regime to abandon its nuclear development program. The North's ambassador to the United Nations, Kim In-yong, made the statement on Monday via a spokesperson after holding a press conference at the UN headquarters in New York. Kim also defended his nation's latest ballistic missile test by accusing South Korea and the United States of pushing circumstances on the Korean peninsula to the brink of nuclear war.
It is just a self-defensive right of the sovereign state to keep high alert as required by the grim situation in which the actual war may break out anytime, and to consolidate the powerful, the deterrence in every way to mercilessly wipe out the aggressors.
The ambassador also claimed the two allies could have been involved in the murder of Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-nam was killed at Kuala Lumpur airport in Malaysia last month after being smeared in the face with VX nerve agent. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump will meet with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to discuss nuclear and missile threats from North Korea and the completion of the deployment of the American missile defense system THAAD on the Korean peninsula. At a regular press briefing on Monday, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said planning is being done for a visit at a date to be determined. Spicer added that more details will be available after Secretary of State Rex Tillerson makes his first visit to China later this week, as he also makes his first trip to South Korea and Japan. Citing high-ranking officials at the White House, reports have said Trump plans to host President Xi at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida early next month. China has been slamming the deployment of the THAAD system to South Korea for months now, fearing its radar could scan its own missile deployments. But reports out of China say Beijing has installed its own state-of-the-art radar that can monitor the entire Western Pacific, including South Korea and Japan. Hwang Ho-jun reports.
While protesting the deployment of the THAAD missile defense system in South Korea, calling it a threat to its national security, Chinese state media has reported that China has installed another over-the-horizon Tianbo radar in Inner Mongolia. Its main objective is detecting an opponent's missile launch and the localization of an intercontinental ballistic missile. Within a minute, Tianbo can confirm the target to strike as it detects the light and heat radiating from the propellant of a launched missile. The over-the-horizon radar, which was installed in January, has a range of about 3,000 kilometers, enabling it to detect not only South Korea and Japan, but even the Western Pacific. That's far bigger than the coverage of THAAD's X-band radar, which has a range of 600 to 800 kilometers. According to the Chinese media, the Tianbo radar can also detect U.S. F-35B stealth fighters deployed at the Iwakuni base in Japan. It can also monitor aircraft carriers and warships within its radius. It said the installment was China's countermeasure to Washington's ambition to monitor China and Russia, in an apparent reference to the THAAD deployment. The Pentagon has described the THAAD deployment as a defensive measure against North Korea after the country continued to pursue nuclear weapons and tested a number of ballistic missile systems. It was just last week that Pyongyang launched 4 ballistic missiles into the East Sea. North Korean state media reported that it was practicing attempts to hit U.S. military bases in Japan with a number of recently launched missiles. Shortly after, the U.S. has started deploying the THAAD system, with the first equipment arriving in South Korea last Monday. Hwang Ho-jun, Arirang News.
Now, shifting to some domestic news, at Korea's National Assembly, political parties were split over Park Geun-hye's last remarks as she returned to her private residence. Opposition parties slammed the comments for stoking national divide, while pro-Park lawmakers said they were pointing to her acceptance of the Constitutional Court's impeachment ruling for the sake of national unity. For this and more, here's our Park Ji-won.
Former President Park Geun-hye's statement to the press after her impeachment has been met with strong criticism from Korea's political parties. The chair of the Democratic Party of Korea said Park is essentially dismissing the court ruling and her remarks contained no reflection on her wrongdoing.
Former President Park, who is now a suspect with 13 charges against her, needs to comply with the prosecutor's investigation in order to reveal the truth.
The People's Party agreed that Park's comments seem to lack self-reflection and said they seem to indicate she doesn't accept the ruling.
The public has been left disappointed. People had hoped Park would put Korea's dignity and future ahead of her own.
The splinter conservative Padam Party also expressed its regret about the remarks.
We hope the former president sends a message indicating that she accepts the ruling in order to bring unity to the nation.
The Liberty Korea Party, which under Park was the ruling party, said that it has moved on from the impeachment verdict.
We need to move beyond the president's impeachment. It's time to focus on overcoming the threats we face to our security, the economy, and foreign affairs.
Meanwhile, National Assembly Speaker Chung Se-gyun and the floor leaders of four main political parties met Monday morning when they renewed their commitment to respect the Constitutional Court ruling. The main topic on their agenda was stabilizing state affairs, and they agreed to meet every Monday for further talks on the subject. They also agreed to vote on several stalled livelihood bills, saying the parliament should take a central role in leading the nation in the post-impeachment period. 박지원, Arirang News.
And that wraps it up for now. Thank you for watching. I'm Hwang Jian. Do join us again at 10 a.m. Korea time for more news updates, and goodbye.